Welcome to our English podcast. Let's practice speaking together.
Hey everyone! Welcome back to the Just Speak English podcast. I'm Hailey.
And I'm Chase. Really glad you're here with us today.
Okay, today's episode is one of the most requested topics we've had since starting this podcast: job interviews in English. And I completely understand why. A job interview is already one of the most stressful situations in anyone's life. Add a second language on top of that, and the pressure becomes enormous.
But here's the thing. Job interviews actually follow a very predictable structure. The questions are mostly the same. The format is mostly the same. And that means you can prepare for them in a way that makes a huge difference, even if English is not your first language.
So today we're giving you vocabulary, real answer frameworks, and tips that will make you feel much more ready the next time you walk into or log on to an interview in English. Subscribe if you're new here, and let's get into it.
5 words and phrases for today. And these ones are especially practical.
First, strength. In an interview context, a strength is something you're genuinely good at, a skill or quality that makes you effective at work. One of my key strengths is my ability to stay calm under pressure.
Second, elaborate. To elaborate means to give more detail and explanation about something you've just said. The interviewer asked me to elaborate on my experience with project management.
Third, relevant. Relevant means directly connected or applicable to the situation at hand. Make sure your examples are relevant to the job you're applying for.
Fourth, initiative. Initiative means taking action on your own without being told to kubicasis, showing proactivity and leadership. I took the initiative to reorganize our team's filing system, which saved us hours every week.
And fifth, follow up. To follow up means to contact someone after a first interaction to continue or close a process. Always follow up with a thank you email after your interview. It leaves a strong impression. Okay, strength, elaborate, relevant, initiative, follow up. Let's go.
Haley, let's start with the basics. What are the most common questions in an English language job interview that people really need to be prepared for?
The classic ones come up almost every single time. Tell me about yourself, which is always the opener. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Why do you want to work here? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And tell me about a time when you faced a challenge at work. These 5 cover probably 80% of most interviews.
So, if you know those 5 well, you're already most of the way there. And I think the most important thing to understand about all of them is that the interviewer isn't just listening to what you say, they're listening to how you say it. Are you clear? Are you specific? Are you confident?
Exactly. Let's start with tell me about yourself, because people really struggle with this one. It sounds open ended, but it actually has a pretty clear structure. You want to give a brief professional summary: where you've been, where you are now, and why you're excited about this particular opportunity.
Something like, I have 5 years of experience in marketing. Most recently, working at a tech company where I led social media campaigns for product launches. I'm now looking for a role where I can take on more strategic responsibility, which is exactly what drew me to this position. Short, clear, relevant.
And notice what's not in there: your whole life history, your personal background, your hobbies. Tell me about yourself in an interview means tell me why you're the right person for this job. Keep it professional and focused.
What about the weaknesses question? Because that one really trips people up. Nobody wants to say something that disqualifies them. But saying I'm a perfectionist is such a cliche that interviewers roll their eyes at it.
Oh, the perfectionist answer. Every interviewer has heard that one so many times. The key with weaknesses is to be genuine but strategic. Pick a real weakness, something you actually struggle with, but follow it immediately with what you're actively doing to improve it.
For example, I sometimes struggle with delegating tasks because I want to make sure everything is done well. But I've been working on this by setting clear expectations with my team up front and trusting them more with the process, which has actually improved our results.
That answer is honest, specific, and shows self awareness and growth. That's the formula. Real weakness, active improvement, positive outcome if possible.
And then there's the behavioral question. Tell me about a time when you faced a challenge. This one has a specific framework that makes it much easier to answer. It's called STAR: situation, task, action, result.
Situation. Briefly explain the context. Task. What was your specific responsibility in that situation? Action. What did you actually do? Result. What happened because of your actions? If you structure every behavioral answer with STAR, you'll always sound organized and clear.
And the result part is so important. A lot of people describe what they did, but forget to say what happened because of it. Did the project succeed? Did the team improve? Did sales go up? That's what the interviewer actually cares about. Not just what you did, but what it achieved.
What about the end of the interview? Because a lot of people kind of trail off when the interviewer asks, "Do you have any questions for us?" And they just say, "No, I think we covered everything."
And that's actually a missed opportunity. Asking good questions at the end of an interview shows genuine interest in the role and the company. It tells the interviewer you've done your research and you're thinking seriously about whether this is the right fit, not just hoping they'll say yes.
Good questions to ask include things like, what does success look like in this role in the first 90 days? Or what are the biggest challenges the team is currently facing? Or how would you describe the team culture here? These show that you're thinking ahead and that you take the role seriously.
And then after the interview, always follow up. A short professional thank you email within 24 hours. Something like, "Thank you so much for your time today. I really enjoyed learning more about the role and the team, and I'm very excited about the opportunity." Brief, warm, professional. It genuinely stands out because most candidates don't bother.
And one final thing before we wrap up the conversation: nerves. Everyone is nervous in interviews, native speakers too. The goal isn't to eliminate nerves, it's to prepare so thoroughly that the nerves don't take over. When you know your answers, when you've practiced them out loud, when you understand the structure, the nerves become background noise instead of the main event.
Exactly. Preparation is the antidote to anxiety. And the beautiful thing about interviews in English specifically is that the structure is so predictable. You can practice every single common question at home, record yourself, refine your answers, and walk in knowing you've already done this dozens of times before the real thing.
One thing I want to add: what about accent? Because I know a lot of non native speakers worry that their accent will count against them in an interview.
This is such an important thing to address honestly. In most professional environments, clarity matters far more than accent. What interviewers need is to understand you. to follow your ideas, your examples, your reasoning. An accent is not a barrier to that. Unclear speech is, but that's a very different thing.
Exactly. And clarity comes from slowing down, enunciating your words, and pausing between ideas. Things we've talked about before in this podcast. A strong accent spoken slowly and clearly will always land better than native sounding speech spoken too fast and nervously.
And I'd actually argue that being a non-native speaker in an interview is sometimes an advantage. Believe it or not, it immediately signals adaptability, international experience, and the kind of resilience that comes from learning to function in a second language. Those are qualities employers genuinely value.
That's such a great reframe. Your English journey is not something to hide or apologize for in an interview. It's part of what makes you interesting and capable. Own it.
And one last practical thing. If you don't understand a question in the interview, it is completely acceptable to say, "I'm sorry, could you rephrase that?" Or, "Could you repeat the question?" Asking for clarification is professional behavior. It shows you care about giving an accurate answer rather than just saying anything to fill the silence. Interviewers respect that far more than a confused, rambling response to a question you didn't fully understand.
That is such a relief to hear. You're allowed to ask for clarification. That's not weakness, that's professionalism. Quick vocab recap. Strength, something you're genuinely good at, especially in a work context. Elaborate, to give more detail about something you've said. Relevant, directly connected to the situation. Initiative, taking action on your own without being told. And follow up, to contact someone after a first interaction to continue the process.
And the key frameworks from today. Keep, tell me about yourself, short, professional, and relevant. Be genuine but strategic with weaknesses. Use STAR for behavioral questions. Situation, task, action, result. Ask good questions at the end. And always send a thank you email within 24 hours.
Comment below. What's the part of a job interview in English that makes you most nervous? We'd genuinely love to help you prepare for it.
Next episode, we're talking about how to give and receive feedback in English. Super useful both at work and in everyday life. Don't miss it.
Thank you so much for listening today. Subscribe if you haven't yet. It's free, and it really helps us. See you in the next one.
Bye, everyone.